approximately 1 in 64 professors will be conservative. 1 in 64. The common number bandied about these days is 1 out of 10. I know anecdotally, just from teaching on various campuses, that conservatives are far and few between, especially in the humanities, especially in English departments. When you get into business, say, or engineering and some of the sciences, it's not as bad. But when you look at those fields, they really don't have much cultural influence. They're not producing the journalists. They're not producing the political ideas and the literature. So they're not really influencing the culture. So the statistics, I'm looking at an article by John Ellis and a co-author. In 1969, on campuses, there were 5 Democrats to 3 Republicans among college faculty. That's in 1969. In 1999, it was 5 to 1. In 2004, it was 8 to 1. See where we're going here. At UC Berkeley in 2004, 2005, it was 8.7 to 1. In the humanities, it was 18 to 1. 18 liberals to 1 conservative in the humanities, 21 to 1 in the social sciences. And even in the natural sciences, where biology, where you would think it would be a little more even, it was 10 to 1. And what do these statistics tell us? Even more ominous is the fact that of those conservatives there, most of them are senior faculty. So my experience back when I went back to graduate school in the early 90s, I kind of picked out all my professors. I could tell by the course descriptions, which courses were Marxist, even though you're taking the Victorian novel or whatever. And I would choose my professors. Well, since I got my degree, those professors have retired, or unfortunately, they have passed on. So they are no longer there. So when they did the study of Berkeley, they found that among the senior faculty, full professors, the proportions were 8.3 to 1. Associate professors, it was 30 to 1. And assistant professors, the new hires, it was 64 to 1. So you can see the future. As the older professors retire, the departments are going to be they're going to be homogeneous. And that is a deliberate effort, and that's going to be what I'm going to say about the second question. So those are some of the statistics.
Thank you. Dr. Furnish.
I just wanted to maybe clarify here, and we'll probably get to this later, but there are probably some people sitting here saying, well, so what's the problem? Liberalism's good, right? Well, I mean, even if you think that, I'm sure many folks do, the problem is, then you go to college, aren't you going to college to get exposed to other views? You're not going to college to get exposed to one side of the intellectual or philosophical or economic or fill-in-the-blank discussion. There are many people that are almost religiously convinced global warming is a product of human endeavor. And it's gotten to the point they're calling it, those of us that are going, whoa, are you sure about that? We're being called deniers, as if somehow we're denying, we should be burned at the stake for denying some sort of truth. In the area that I know a lot about, obviously, as I said, is Islamic, not just Middle East studies, but I deal with any parts of the Islamic world where usually we're Muslims are the majority. So I do a lot of work in Islamic Africa as well, Southeast Asia. And again, another topic that's more relevant a bit later, but my big concern is where this huge bias in the civilian educational world is bleeding into the military and the intelligence community. We just nominated and approved a man to be Director of Civil Intelligence who denies that jihad is Islamic. Denies that jihad is Islamic. I mean, I don't know that you should be sane and deny that jihad is Islamic. Because every Islamic source that I've ever read in Arabic or Ottoman Turkish, and I also somewhat read Persian and modern Turkish, was started by Muhammad, the founder of Islam. So I don't know how John Brennan became more of an expert on jihad than Muhammad, the founder of Islam, but he is. For that matter, so is Barack Hussein Obama. So the problem is, and we can argue all day, and this is not the place for a discussion of the latitude of meanings that jihad has. It does, yes, it can mean peaceful things, but yes, it can mean strapping bombs on and also and killing people. It clearly, that's mainly what's meant in Islamic history. Swords, not bombs. But the point is that the president, the director of Central Intelligence, many people in this administration, and to be fair, many people in the previous administration, were influenced by people in colleges and universities, often Ivy League, not just Berkeley, as that is, often Ivy League, who taught them that basically an ahistorical view. And that is coming back to haunt us. I mean, it's become a really serious bleed over between the civilian world where you aren't taught the truth about certain things, and again, with me, the big thing is national security. And what's going on in the administration is as a result of this and of the fact that we have a president that's probably the most left president we've ever had, who's influenced by people like Saul Alinsky and people that to most normal people would be considered far left. Perhaps in some campuses they aren't, but most people consider them far left. Again, I'll come back to this later, but what I really want to deal with later on is the ramifications, how we got to that point and the ramifications of this problem that I just
out loud.